Mexico and the U.S. Canada is set to host the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
The United States and Mexico will be making a joint bid to host the 2026 World Cup. It is one of the world's biggest sporting events with more than 1 billion viewers around the world.
Mexico, Canada, and the United States have been announced as joint hosts of the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
The world is watching. On 11th June 2026, the 2026 FIFA World Cup will kick off across North America in what promises to be the largest tournament in history. With 48 teams and 104 matches spread across 16 cities in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, it marks a bold leap from the 32-team fields of the past. Yet behind the fanfare lies a deeper story, one of shifting power, eroding assumptions, and the uneasy intersection of sport and geopolitics. In the heart of this story stands America, once the undisputed anchor of this event, now facing questions not about its capacity to host, but its credibility. Today on Maple States, we explore how the stage built for unity may now reflect a greater test of trust. When the US, Canada, and Mexico won the joint hosting rights back in 2018, it was hailed as emblematic of cooperation and North American strength. America, with its infrastructure, experience, and reach, was positioned as the lead force. Its cities primed to fill stadiums, its economy ready to support a global spectacle. But in recent months, headlines have shifted. What was meant to be an anthem of unity has increasingly sounded like a cautionary tale of leadership under strain. That pivot point arrived in September 2025. At a Washington, D.C. press conference, former President Donald Trump declared, "If I see a place that isn't safe, we'll move the match somewhere else." What might have been framed as decisive leadership immediately triggered alarm, not among rival host nations, but within the corridors of the global governing body. His words, spoken in a sporting context, implicitly challenged the entire hosting plan. The reaction was swift. FIFA Vice President Victor Montagliani, overseeing North and Central America, responded, "Football is bigger than any country, bigger than any government or slogan." The Globe took note. The tournament, it seemed, had become ground zero for a credibility test. The logistics behind the 2026 tournament were locked in years ago. 16 host cities, hundreds of millions in infrastructure, binding government agreements, and tens of thousands of workers mobilized. In theory, moving even one match would require unspooling years of preparation and legal contracts. Yet this wasn't about practicality. It was about perception. Global media pounced. Headlines questioned whether the United States could manage the world's most watched sporting event without it becoming a political spectacle. Then came a second wave of concern: domestic turbulence, reports of over 500 mass shootings in a year, and protests in cities once viewed as modern and stable. For international observers, the image of the US as a safe, welcoming host began to crack. And all the while, across the border, Canada and Mexico quietly moved ahead. Toronto and Vancouver were selected as Canadian venues. Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Monterrey joined the roster in Mexico. While the US scrambled with headlines, its neighbors focused on deadlines, planning, and performance. Meanwhile, practical headwinds emerged. The US visa system, famously complex, contrasted sharply with recent hosts such as Russia or Qatar, where access often required little more than a passport and ticket. For fans, the message was clear: the World Cup is meant to bring the world together, not place barriers in front of them. One journalist summed it up: in Russia, you needed a ticket and a passport. In the US, you need time, money, and a miracle. That sentiment began to spread among fans and sponsors alike. And then the host nations themselves came under fresh scrutiny. Once automatic, every major step the US took was now considered through a lens of uncertainty. The stadiums may be ready, the infrastructure may be in place, but could the US still represent what this tournament symbolizes? Global unity delivered through sport? Canada and Mexico, by contrast, quietly built momentum. Their governments remained aligned with FIFA's timeline, fan zones expanded, ticket systems improved, promotional campaigns gained traction worldwide. Where the US was once seen as the anchor, the narrative began to shift, the dependable neighbors taking center stage. Even as internal briefings within FIFA report that all host venues remain on schedule, the atmosphere around the American half of the tournament feels unsettled. Every statement from Washington now matters. Every policy shift, every public remark carries potential ripple effects through boardrooms, media cycles, and global fan communities. This is what makes the 2026 World Cup about more than sport. In many ways, it is a mirror held up to a changing world. The US was once viewed as the safe, predictable superhost. Now the question looming over sport's greatest event is whether trust in that status remains intact. The tournament will still feature 104 games and 48 teams, the biggest in FIFA's history. But size alone does not guarantee success. When we look back to the moment of the joint bid, the promise was clear: united as one. For Canada, hosting for the first time; for Mexico, returning with full force; for the US, reaffirmation of global leadership.
Canada, Mexico and USA have been selected by the FIFA Congress to host the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Now the story has shifted. If the US missteps, the consequences will not just be about stadiums or logistics. They will reflect on the country's ability to uphold the spirit of the tournament. If Canada and Mexico excel, the balance of influence may tilt. What unfolds between June and July 2026 will be watched not just for goals and trophies, but for symbolism. Will the world see unity, or will it see division? Will the host deliver a seamless global festival, or a cautionary tale of trust eroded? On Maple States, we will bring you the voices inside fan zones, the boardroom tensions behind closed doors, and the narrative cropping up beyond the field. So tell us, what do you think? Will the United States redeem its image and deliver the 2026 World Cup as promised? Or has the moment passed and the baton quietly been passed northward? Let us know in the comments. And remember, the best comment will be pinned. Thanks for tuning in on Maple States, and we'll see you very soon.